Hi friends, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, Life Between Words. Fox is eating lunch. I'm 37 weeks pregnant today, and I've got a terrible head cold. You probably can't hear it in my voice, but I feel very fuzzy. My husband and Fox just got over this cold, and they very kindly gave it to me in my last weeks of pregnancy. Thank you, family. On top of which, I filmed this video a few days ago, and then promptly erased it right off of my camera. Go me. December was a pretty great reading month. I actually read quite a few books, and I really enjoyed everything that I read. It was a great way to end the year reading-wise. The first book that I read is a nonfiction sort of Christian living book. It's called Liturgy of the Ordinary by Tish Harrison Warren. Tish is an Anglican priest, and so she is very immersed in the liturgical tradition. One of the things that she quotes in this book, I don't think she's the first person to say it, is that what makes up a day makes up a life. And so in this book, she goes through the day, starting with waking up, making your bed, brushing your teeth, to all the way through to going to sleep at night, and how these are the ordinary liturgies of our day. She also says something really great, and it's something like, everyone wants to be a part of the revolution, nobody wants to clean the dishes. It talks about how you can find meaning in our everyday, mundane practices. She uses the word quotidian a lot in this book. That was a new word that I learned. I heard it before, but I didn't know what it meant, and I think it just means sort of everyday, ordinary. The fact that I'm a mom, I do work part-time, but I'm home with my little boy a lot. Our days, just Fox and I, blend together a lot, and so I found this book both practical and so relatable and really wonderful. It was one of the best nonfiction books that I read this year, and unfortunately I didn't read a lot of nonfiction this year. Next, I finished Robin Hobb's Farseer trilogy. This is called Assassin's Quest. This was my least favorite book in the trilogy. I just didn't feel like it was as strong as the other two. I feel like the ending was really rushed over. Everything that this series had built toward just fell really flat, which I found really disappointing. And the other disappointing thing about this book is that the pacing in it was so strange. Parts of the book that I really thought should move slower moved really quickly, like the ending, and then parts that I felt like should move more quickly moved really slowly. A lot of the book is Fitz journeying into this mountain region, and it just moves pretty slow. I was never bored. I actually expected it to move a lot more slowly because I'd heard so much about this book. I still loved the characters, and ultimately I liked the series quite a bit, even though I do hear that the next few series in this larger world are excellent, so I can't wait to keep going. I really wanted to read some Christmassy books this month, and I totally achieved that. The rest of December was so wonderful and heartwarming and cozy in terms of what I read. The first Christmassy book that I read is a middle grade book called The Christmas-saurus. It's by Tom Fletcher, who is apparently a member of some sort of British band called McFly, which just makes me think of Back to the Future. The Christmas-saurus is about a little boy named William Trundle who loves dinosaurs, and his father is obsessed with Christmas. Every year he asks for a dinosaur for Christmas. Well, one year Santa accidentally delivers a real dinosaur, the Christmas-saurus, and the book is about an adventure that William has on Christmas Eve with his dinosaur. I found it so charming, a little bit silly, but not in a bad way, just in the way that will really, really appeal to young kids. And I also am really looking forward to reading it out loud to Fox in years to come. It will make a great read aloud for a variety of reasons, one of which is just the plot is so fun, and as you're reading it you can tell that it's meant to be read aloud because there are pages where the font is really big, and then there are also illustrations scattered throughout the book. It's a really fun read. I really enjoyed myself, and it put me in the Christmas spirit, which is exactly what I wanted. Next, I participated in a buddy read of Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher. Can you even see that? It looks really bright. This was my first Rosamund Pilcher book. I never read anything by her, but I really, really loved her. I sort of now think of her as kind of Kate Morton without the mystery. The feeling you get as you read the book, it's a little more heartwarming than Kate Morton's books, but the characters are just as lovable, and the story is enchanting. Winter Solstice takes place over the holiday season, and it's about a group of people who find themselves in this charming little house in Cornwall, and every person who finds themselves at this little house is beaten and battered in different ways, and this book is just sort of how they bring life back to each other and how they change each other. It's very charming, and like I said, it's very enchanting. The writing is good. Like, for women's fiction, this is high quality. There's a little bit of depth here, so there's a little something more if women's fiction isn't normally your thing, or if you're looking for women's fiction with a little extra. And I also think that the descriptions of food in this book are mouth-wateringly good, and I am a sucker for any book with good food descriptions. I would really like to pick up more Rosamund Pilcher in the future because I enjoyed this just so much. Fox is done with lunch and wants to join. What do you want to say? Are you going to be shy now? Oh, he's going to be shy. Are you going to be shy? I love you. I love you. If you watched my TBR video, you will have heard me mention all of these books pretty much. But one of the ones I was looking most forward to was Skating Shoes by Noel Streatfeild. Did you bring a book to talk about?
Yes.
Okay, come here. You want to talk about this? Say, I'm Fox.
I'm Fox.
I'm here to talk to you about this book. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we dropped it.
I'm talking. I got it.
All right, show it to the camera. You gotta hold it up so that the camera can see it.
This is a book.
The Nightmare Before
I got
Christmas. You got this.
I made a Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yes, we did.
Okay, open it up.
Oh, look, a nose.
The pumpkin nose.
A pumpkin nose.
Yeah.
That's Santa again.
That's Santa and Jack Skellington. Can Mommy talk again for a little bit?
No, I need.
Oh, okay. If you'll recall in my TBR video, one of the reasons that I was so excited to read this is that this was Kathleen Kelly's favorite book in the movie You've Got Mail. Okay, not her favorite book, but she mentions it as being one of her favorite shoe books by Noel Streatfeild. Theater shoes, dancing shoes, ballet shoes, and skating shoes. And in the movie, when she talks about it, she says that Skating Shoes is out of print. Well, Skating Shoes is no longer out of print. And so I got my hands on a copy when I found that out and read it and really enjoyed it and wish that I would have read it when I was a kid. It feels very classic children's literature. This was very well written. It was a really sweet story about a little girl who comes from a quirky family and she gets very sick, and as part of her recovery, her doctor tells her that she needs to start taking skating lessons, and there she meets another little girl who is an up-and-coming skating star. And it's about their friendship. It's about some of the things that happen during that time when she is learning how to skate. And it's very good. I really enjoyed it. And if you like middle grade books, this is a great one. The audiobook that I listened to this month was called The Christmas Pearl by Dorothea Benton Frank. She writes a lot of women's fiction. This book was no exception. I found it just okay. It wasn't bad, but I have to admit I was a little distracted while I was listening to it, so I feel like there were parts of it that I missed, and perhaps if I had listened to it more intently, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. It's not that I disliked it, it was just that I didn't find it super original, I didn't find it really compelling. It feels very Christmas Carol-esque in its plot. It's about a dysfunctional family whose elderly matriarch is mourning the fact that her family has a lot of issues, and wishing that they understood more about what Christmas is really meant to be about. And so a ghost comes to visit their family and sets things right, which is why it feels very Christmas Carol-esque, but it was not Dickens, and so I didn't like it as much, but it was still, you know, Christmassy and enjoyable, and, you know, it met my goal of reading Christmassy books during the holiday. This was a middle grade reading month for me, which I didn't necessarily plan. It's just kind of how it turned out. Towards the end of the month, I read Mandy by Julie Andrews Edwards, Julie Andrews of Sound of Music / Mary Poppins fame. I did read Mandy when I was a kid and loved it and have wanted to return to the story at some point, and this was the time, I guess. Mandy is about a little orphan girl who lives at an orphanage and really wants a place of her own. So one day she climbs over the orphanage wall and finds an abandoned cottage on the other side, and she makes it her own. But ultimately what she really wants is a new family, and I'm not going to tell you whether she gets that, but this is a very heartwarming book, so if that tells you anything, then I think it probably tells you everything. This was also a really sweet, charming, heartfelt, heartwarming read, and I really enjoyed this reread. It captured my imagination when I was a child, and it delighted me as an adult, and so I can't ask much more than that from this book. The last book that I read this year made my top books of the year, and that is Ruta Sepetys Between Shades of Grey. The noisy toy is driving me out of my mind. This book did not fit my Christmassy requirement, although there were actually a couple Christmas scenes in here. This tells the story of Lena and her family, who are Lithuanian and who are deported by Stalin's, it's not the KGB, what are they called back then? The NKVD. They deport Lena's family to Stalin's work camps in Siberia, and it was bleak, it was very hard-hitting, it was really hard to read. There were so many moments of just despair in this book that you feel as the reader, but one of the things that I loved so much about this book is that the people that we get to know in this book, despite their really bleak, awful, horrible, life-demeaning circumstances, are filled with so much hope for the future. They are filled with so much perseverance, and they have so much forgiveness and compassion on their captors. It was very inspiring in that respect, and very hopeful in that respect, despite it being such a heart-wrenching, bleak story. I can't wait to read more Ruta Sepetys because this book was just so good. So I read about 8 things, or at least in part, because I already started Assassin's Quest previously. I am really pleased with how the year ended, and I would love to know how your bookish year ended. What were some of the books that you read and really enjoyed in December? And I hope you had a great holiday season. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a great New Year. I hope you're looking forward to 2017. I'm so foggy, I don't even know how to end this video. I hope you all are having, I'm looking at my husband. I hope you all are having a really great start to the new year, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye! Say, hi, I'm Fox.
I'm Fox.
What's this?
My night for Christmas. Let's read this.
If you remember,
I love talk a
this
ball.
is very difficult.
I love talk
You want to talk about a ball?
a soccer
And
ball.
let's talk about the ball.
See, this is a ball. Soccer ball.
Baseball.
A baseball.
Baseball. You.
Did you just eat it?
I got a ball.
What is that?
A ball.
Oh, it's a wand.
A wand.
And it lights up. Who got you this wand?
My cousin.
Yeah, your cousins got it for you.
My cousin got for me.